Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys, trader and technical analyst for the last 13 years. In this video, we're going to check in on the markets. It was an exciting day out there. I could make this video an hour long very easily, but we're going to condense it down, talking about the dollar and how it ran the show today, how recognizing correlations can act as a bit of a cheat code in the markets, how the cannabis sector had a reaction to the Safer Banking Act getting some Senate votes, and how the metals had an all-out dump. Let's check it out. All right, so we started with the bears in absolute complete control yet again today. We dropped down, broke the lows of yesterday, and then just a very clear 15-minute downtrend, and then a mini short squeeze out of nowhere. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but hit daily oversold conditions, and that for me is a signal to start unwinding my IRA hedge position, which I've had for a couple months at this point, and definitely fumbled this, wanted to exit and reload, but missed my opportunity, so just held on to it because we knew the weekly lower highs were most likely. And so now that we're at daily oversold conditions, I start to scale out those shorts, and maybe I'll add them back on a daily lower high, but essentially want my portfolio to be going back to the long side at this point. And we have a nice long lower wick. The bulls will have to confirm an hourly uptrend if this move is for real tomorrow. And that is what we're watching in the short term. Can bulls confirm the hourly uptrend to get the daily bounce going? QQQ did not quite get daily oversold. It got close, but same pattern there as far as the V-shaped bounce. Can we confirm the hourly uptrend? Then we zoom out and scout a daily lower high if the bulls are able to do so. So the dollar today, midday, we were able to say, well, first off, we know the dollar is extremely strong, right? Absolute breakout mode, trending on all time frames. And I was looking at observing it and able to say this is the most correlated, the most inversely correlated that I've seen the dollar to the broader market in as long as I can remember, which means months. And it was tick for tick on the 5-minute time frame. The 5-minute pattern on QQQ trying to bounce was the same as the 5-minute consolidation pattern on the dollar. And so I recognize that and say, okay, that's something to be paying attention to. And at this point in time, every leg up that the dollar sees, the market sees a leg down, the metals see a leg down. And so I'm watching the dollar to dictate everything the market's doing today. You could say the dollar's been dictating a lot bigger picture over the last couple of months, but it hasn't been tick for tick on the 5-minute time frame for us day traders to utilize that information. So we then had the V-shaped move in the market. Where did that come from? It came from a 5-minute uptrend, but we had a couple 5-minute uptrends already. And so the first thing is, what's the news? So we look for news because it is very high volume and just a complete 180 turnaround from all the momentum that we've seen. And then I don't see any news that came out. And so I say, all right, the market is acting like a climax bottom, but the technicals were not aligned for a climax bottom. We weren't at extreme oversold RSI levels on really any time frames. It was first daily oversold conditions, yes, but that generally is not enough to just completely V-shape reversal like this. And I call it a mini short squeeze because anybody that went short today was squeezed out on that move in an hour's time. So, you got 4 hours of complete bear control, 4.5 hours, and then in 1 hour, you take it all back. And that's the strongest, move that the bulls have seen since the FOMC. And so then I'm looking at the dollar and saying, okay, it's the dollar putting in a climax kind of top, just because the dollar was overbought on the daily. Go back historically, look at the daily RSI over the last 5 years, and where does it top out and where do we stand? Look at the 4-hour RSI, the hourly RSI. We hit some temporary climax tops in the broader market, in the dollar, and it then rolled over. And so as the dollar had this climax top kind of drop, the market had the inverse climax bottom kind of bounce. And so then I'm looking at this market run up, and we know, we still have to confirm an hourly trend change. We're still in an hourly downtrend. And a lot of people were looking short right here when we hesitated and started to pull back. And I'm looking around and starting to say, if I'm going to long the dollar, this is where I utilized my edge, because my edge is not nailing tops. My edge is oversold bounces. And this is the trick learned from the cryptocurrency space. Letting Sweetie Pants outside. So trick from the cryptocurrency space, where when you're in a significantly strong trending market and you're pulling back, you look for first 5-minute oversold conditions off of hourly EMA 12. If you Google Chart Guys Backburner, you'll see the video that explains that in depth. And so I said, normally I'd be looking short here. If I did not recognize this correlation and pattern, I would have been shorting here, trying to find the top of this, move. But then I said to myself, well, if I wouldn't be longing the dollar here, I'm just going to short where I would be longing the dollar. If they're tick for tick inverse, I'm going to use my edge playing a bounce to go short. And so as soon as the dollar, and as this is all shaping up, this is my mindset into this move, I would not buy the dollar until 5-minute oversold from here, and everything is so inverse to it. That is my guide for shorts. The dollar 5-minute oversold, backburner, hourly EMA 12 support test. I'm in SQQQ on that signal at 313. And my order was filled at $20.69 at 313.52. When did QQQ top out? It was almost like a cheat code. I felt like I had a cheat code. I was entered short the 1-minute candle where we topped out. And that was because I was playing the dollar. And that's my edge. I know the dollar is going to bounce on the 5-minute time frame here. And so nailed the top there and then was scaling out and anticipated the dollar would get the 5-minute bounce. And, I was exiting a quarter, and then went long at the end of the day just for that little bounce. And that ended up with really good timing as well. 343 entering TQQQ, and that was the minute candle before the bottom. And again, I was just watching the dollar the whole time. The entirety of the decisions that I was making was based on what the dollar was doing. So now what? If this move is going to get bounce follow through, number one, this correlation is going to change. Google ChartGuys correlations for a whole video about it. But correlations come and go, they strengthen and weaken. So tomorrow, you better believe the first hour, I'm going to be watching, do we have a tick for tick inverse correlation with the dollar still? But if we're going to confirm an hourly uptrend, broader market bulls want to see the dollar confirm an hourly downtrend, because right now the dollar bulls are loving that 5-minute oversold bounce. It's doing exactly what they want to see. It's setting the hourly high or low and trying for continuation. And so what we have to see is first 5-minute oversold conditions not mark continuation if we're going to say, all right, we're shaping up daily consolidation now. And so this is now a very key level for me into tomorrow, 106.55 on the dollar. That level must break. And again, the correlation can shift. We could wake up tomorrow and say, well, the broader market's getting the bounce going, even though the dollar is not rolling over. We're going to have to observe and see where we stand. But the bears, I should say, the metal and market bulls want to see the hourly downtrend confirm on the dollar. Then we zoom out to the 4-hour. We watch 4-hour EMA 12, which is held ever since the FOMC. And we then give that EMA a test. This is why I love EMA 12, dollar bouncing right off of it. That was half of the factor of why I was looking for the dollar bounce. EMA 12, 5-minute back burner. So let's see, other than that, exited some bearish hedges. I did stop out of my Tesla, long swing, break even. So made that bounce play on Monday, took some profit. 237.75 was my break even. And when the daily bear flag confirmed, I stopped out. And the question was, can the bulls be positioned well for a bounce? And the answer was, nope, the NASDAQ is staying weak. And Tesla ended up being a laggard bear on that bear flag. Still going to be watching Tesla for a weekly high or low. There's a ton of space, anything above 212.36. So I may make another attempt. Whenever I stop out something break even, I have free reign to give it another attempt. Because, last thing I want to be doing is racking up a few losses in a row, but break even means fair game. So I'll keep an eye out for maybe another entry opportunity on Tesla for a weekly high or low. And maybe it'll be on an hourly high or low attempt from here. Don't know. We'll see. But overall, bears won the morning on Tesla as it joined the bears and rolled over. It's still big tech leading the way down. Amazon, we bounced here, but just absolute free fall. And Microsoft dropped down. It did double bottom. Well, we broke the low of yesterday by 30 cents or so. But again, everything is trying to put in a temporary bottom into a daily bounce. And tomorrow's going to be key. We have Powell speaking tomorrow at 4 p.m. We've got, jobless claims. There's some data tomorrow that's going to have an impact for us to be keeping an eye on. But I'm going to be watching the dollar pretty much more importantly than anything else. NVDA still hanging on. The low of yesterday, We broke it, but only by 26 cents. I consider that a double bottom on a $400 stock. It is still a possible bear flag, but again, it's the same thing. NVDA is positioned well for the bulls if QQQ bounces from here, or if QQQ stays weak, it's a potential daily bear flag. So bulls are hoping that QQQ gets the daily bounce going tomorrow to try and help NVDA negate the daily bear flag. Cannabis names. So we knew going into this vote, and it's a safer banking markup from the Senate, and it passed. But we knew going into this vote that a daily lower high is the most likely scenario. This is why headlines for me are secondary, because this sector keeps giving us the most likely scenarios. And so we then had the reaction, and it halted on the way up, and we pretty much double topped at the top to this point, 875, 880, and then it was a sell the news reaction. And you could see it was a sell the news reaction shaping up, because while MSOS was halted, other names that were not halted were selling off. We spiked up and pulled back in pretty much everything. And so that gave us the clue, look for potential top fishing shorts or take some profit if you're long. And so at this point for MSOS, the bulls are defending a triple bottom at 790 3 days in a row. If 790 breaks, our daily lower high is set at 880, and the bears will attempt to confirm the daily downtrend into further weekly consolidation. And we've got space where if we hold 790 tomorrow morning, we're just looking for an hourly lower high. There's resistance at 839 and 838. Again, put your mindset in that of a bear, even if you're not playing the sector bearish. If we sell off on that news, and then we bounce to 838, and then we double bottom, and then we bounce to 839, we're clearly rejecting from resistance, and we then roll over for a 5% drop into the end of the day. If you can't break a level and a wall forms, traders are going to start acting on it. Longs are going to sell just under it. Shorts are going to short that level. And so longs have been buying the 790s, and it's been working. We'll see if that remains the case. But again, there is space for an hourly lower high to be the result of any bounce from here because of how much we pulled back from the high of the day. CGC, 2 days ago, I started talking about the hourly head and shoulders. I was able to, early pattern recognition right here, say, watch for an hourly lower high next bounce to shape up an hourly head and shoulders, because we knew a daily lower high is the most likely scenario. And after the size of this pullback, I knew an hourly lower high is the most likely scenario. And again, that's just through a decade plus and tens of thousands of charts and thousands of hours of observation. How can I say something's the most likely scenario? Because I've seen it over and over and over and over and over again. And so at this point, the daily lower high on CGC is set at 107. We know a weekly higher low is most likely. So if the bulls are going to shape up a weekly higher low, they must hold 76 and break 107 to confirm the daily uptrend. Bulls want to see this bounce big enough to create space for an hourly uptrend to confirm. If we confirm an hourly uptrend on CGC, a daily higher low compared to 76 cents will be shaping up. Bulls need to show up tomorrow because, again, it's a sell the news narrative right now, and they need to squash that. Otherwise, I mean, what's the headline now? Well, we got to wait a while. We got to wait for further safe headlines. We might not get, DEA rescheduling news for 5 months. So the Bears have time on their side for headlines. Yes, a headline can surprise everything, but what's the probability on any given day that a surprise bullish headline is going to come out? It's fairly low. And so we have the possibility here for further weekly consolidation to be shaping up. And if MSOS breaks 790, that increases the probability of further consolidation. And if CGC breaks 76 cents, TLRY we know has been a lead bear. It already dropped to the lower low. TLRY continues to just daily downtrend. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And here we are with TLRY giving back everything from the news. TLRY is trading at the price that it was trading at before HHS recommended Schedule 3 for cannabis. It remains a lead bear, and the simple statement, if 263 is resistance, I missed that top fish. That was a beauty. Reject from resistance by 1 penny. Again, bears just waiting at that level. Reject from the high of yesterday by 1 penny. and then roll over into a 10% pullback. Bears keep getting rewarded for now. Financial sector, trying to bounce. Still in the KRE short. Moving my stop down to 42.01. I've just been walking my stop down with the daily lower highs on that short swing position. But XLF, same as everybody else. We got to confirm the hourly uptrend tomorrow to get a daily bounce going. And then we'll zoom out and scout a daily lower high, watching the bounce retracement size to help us determine probabilities. IWM, daily inside bar. So tightening up sideways, trying to shift the balance between supply and demand of shares. Bulls must break 177.03 to get this bounce underway. And some growth names stood out a bit stronger today. Again, ARKK a little bit, not much, but RBLX, third green day in a row. There's a handful of growth names. XBI was green again. So a small amount of relative strength in growth, some growth names. And that helped IWM trade sideways while everything was so weak. Oil, daily downtrend confirmed with zero follow through. Bull flag confirmed. Nice V-shaped recovery for oil. And just affirming the bulls still have their complete control. And was it first hourly oversold? Yep. So hourly, look at hourly oversold for oil. Just bounce, got right down to it again, got right down to it again. Bulls are buying hourly oversold on oil. And they will keep doing so until it stops working. Natural gas getting really tight. Again, the weekly time frame is sideways. Volatility is coming within the next couple of weeks. And the bulls need to get over 277s for a clear bull break. So that's where we stand into tomorrow. Bulls must confirm hourly uptrends. That's just step one. Then we zoom out and scout daily lower highs. Maybe they're going to be daily bear flags next time we get a daily bounce going. A lot's going to depend on the dollar, in my opinion. And again, the metals absolutely collapsed with this dollar strength. Gold, I did stop out of a gold. I tried to play a 4-hour oversold bounce on gold, and it just kept dropping. We hit some historical RSI levels today. Gold hourly RSI got down to 9. That doesn't happen very often. The 4-hour RSI was down to 12 or 13. It's some of the most beat up that gold has been in a very long time, and we dropped to the lower low. The only hope for the bulls at this point would be a weekly falling wedge, but we pretty much need the dollar to top right now. It's not a high conviction pattern at all. If the dollar were to give us signs that it is topping out right now, then I'd keep an eye on it. But again, absolute full bear control. And even now, it's a weak hourly bounce, potentially a bear flag. Have to see the dollar top out with an hourly downtrend confirming if gold's going to get any kind of bounce follow through. Uranium stocks topped out. I think uranium might be shaping up for weekly consolidation. A daily bull flag confirmed straight into a daily pullback. Granted, we did see hourly oversold conditions lead to a nice bounce. Bulls like that. We knew to scout the hourly lower high this morning. We rolled over nicely from that. How did we know? Lots of space for it to form because of the pullback yesterday. So the question from here is this just another daily high or low into continuation? Or is this a top being set? And the low of today is a must hold. If the low of today breaks tomorrow or Friday, the probability for me that weekly consolidation is coming will increase significantly. So I'm watching very closely because I'm very curious to see how this plays out from here. It's possible bulls can save it, absolutely. Because the bulls saw exactly what they wanted. Hourly oversold conditions off daily EMA 12. Sound familiar? Dollar, 5-minute oversold off hourly higher low. These back burners are a thing of beauty when you're in a strong trending market. Don't forget, Joey webinar tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. Link in the comments. You got to sign up for the free webinar. Link in the comments of this YouTube video. And we'll see if the bulls can get the daily bounce going tomorrow. Watch the dollar closely and do good things. Cleared out the tomatoes, planted some winter greens. Got some eggplants still going. Look at that color. Big old basil plant the bees are still enjoying. And all this will be kale and chard and spinach and stuff for the winter.